page and it's giving me some helpful reminders, and then I flip a page and it tells me about locator service. Like, that just feels like it's less, taxing on my brain than trying to kind of make sense of this jumble. So this is what, in the category of, the categories of too much on a page and confusing layouts often to me kind of blend into each other. So I don't really care what we call them as long as we kind of fix them. And again, the most important, the high priority fixes being ones like this, where I would say the best fix would be to split this page out into multiple.
Would you split it into 3 pages then, to have locator service by itself on a page, do you think?
I think I would, because that seems like a distinct thing.
Yeah. I was remembering the rule when we were designing the modules. You said they can't be too short, but they can be too long. And I'm thinking, does that kind of apply to the pages also?
I think that's true. Yeah, I think that is true. I think learners aren't going to react so much. I don't think they'll react so much to a short page, but I think they'll react. I will say, it is true that I think we don't necessarily want to have this in a module. So I hope this isn't sort of wishy-washy advice, but I would say, for example, if it makes sense on a page together and it avoids having 2 little tiny, very, very short pages, it's fine to put them together. So let me say this, I would say if we devices remember the sort of I guess it's sort of like a helpful tips list with locator service, I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world if this module already has 30 topic pages. But
could we say approximately 1 topic per page? Because the way I would break this out is I'd have the process by itself, and then maybe the lockout, tagout, and the locator service on the next page. So maybe approximately 1 topic per page.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of confusion and then also cognitive overload when somebody looks at a page with all of this stuff on it. That's a lot to take in at one time period.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
I'm reading the content in this, and I'm not even sure locator service belongs on this page. Do you think that's an error? They're talking about lockout, tagout, and then they're talking about locator service.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's like more of a safety while you're actually doing the action, not the lockout, tagout.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. That locator service does not belong on this. You're absolutely right. I think that should be its own page. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. What's on the next page? Yeah, I think locator service needs to be its own page. So here's another helpful thing, I think, as you're going through each course. I sent you logins to the new system and the old system. One of the things that I'm finding as I go through this exercise is that it's actually really helpful. I've done this probably a million times, have the old course up as I go through the new course, because sometimes it really just helps me. It may be, I don't know, but this locator service blurb could potentially be completely misplaced. Or it may just be in our current course, it was sort of just like a random thought that came between installing lockout, tagout devices and safe and appropriate equipment. But you may find as you look at the old course, locator service maybe was actually supposed to be in a previous module or something like that. I'm not finding a lot of that. I think it's probably more that it just should be its own paper. I'll go through that in a minute. I'll get through that. These are the hardest things. I think these confusing layouts and the too much on a page, which again are often one and the same or linked, go into then this next issue, which these are my top 3 issues, I would say. well, maybe it's these are the top 4. And they're all very related. So you've got too much on a page, confusing layout, and then what I'm saying is like not taking the obvious opportunities to key things. I can find one here where there's supposed to be an example or a list or something, and it's like, say, this is just craziness. This page, oh my word. So to me, I look at this page as a learner, I'm like, I have no idea. I don't even know. I don't know what's happening here. What is all this stuff? Like, why? So this page clearly needs to be split.
Ellen,
so that's one thing.
Ellen, I don't think you're on the page. You're in the
like this is just so much stuff with no hierarchy, no nothing. So I would say this page needs to be split probably into 1, 2, and I'm not even reading it, but my guess, because they have these splits here already, is like 1, 2, 3, and then a page for each example, 4, 5, 6. Like this is like probably six pages. But let's just imagine for a minute, for the sake of this point, that we were going to keep this all in one page. It's like down here in these, I can't tell almost even like which of these audio files goes with what. Like, is this text telling me something about the audio file or about something below it? Or, I mean, it's just, to me, just very confusing. So this is where, to me, there's like no cue to the learner. Like, okay, you're going to, like, there's something called a reactive service opportunity. And now you're going to hear an example of it. Well, they actually did bold this. This wasn't even bolded before. And you're going to listen to it, and then there's maybe kind of a tip after it or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't even make sense of it. But you probably get my point. Like, in addition to there being too much stuff, there's just no way that the learner can kind of understand. I'm going to read something, I'm going to listen to an example, and then I'm going to have a little wrap up. And then I'm going to read something, I'm going to listen to a very wrapped up, I would say, in the same issue of just things just are not laid out. Like, they've just crammed a lot of stuff in. The layout's confusing. They haven't, like, cued things to learners. And then this fourth thing is this, like, tabs and accordions. Like, I just think they've hidden way too much stuff under these, like, tabs and accordions. And we were looking at an example of that earlier where you clicked on the tab and then it was, like, 2 pages worth of stuff popped up. So these, to me, are, like, the big 4 because they're really troublesome, but also because the fix for them likely involves splitting into multiple pages. And if we don't have those pages there by 7/29, then we can't add them until December or January. So that's why these, to me, are kind of the biggest things to get fixed before the 29th. The other things, there's some things like sometimes they're put things in columns, which is weird, but you might just be able to switch around the layout a little bit and not actually have to add a page. You'll see there's fonts, and I have to send you the style sheet, but I've used all these like weird fonts that we never approved, which I just think are kind of like this page. This kind of like, let me make this bigger. This like kind of light gray thin font. We never approved this font, and I think it's very weird. This is the main body text font that we approved.
Ellen, you're still on the spreadsheet.
And this kind of pops in every now and then. It's like they're like trying to use it to make a point, but to me, it's a font that sort of fades to the background. Oh, sorry. It doesn't make a point to me. To me, it kind of fades back. And again, we just didn't approve font. You have this font. You have this font bolded. You have this font, and you have this font bolded. I was like, oh, that's font overload.
Ransom note style.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like it's just too much.
Ellen, you're still in the spreadsheet. There we go.
Oh. Okay.
Or maybe I was just having delay on my internet.
Yeah, it's weird. So that's one we can fix after, like by the time learners get in there. It's fine. We don't have to fix it now, but we may as well flag it now. But you'll see. Again, I'll send you the style sheet. But this is the constant struggle. This font, this thin, gray, bigger font, that we just want to tell them use this font, which is the font we approved.
Yeah,
I'll
because
send you our
that's not
styles.
readable, really.
No, it's really odd. I don't know why that got in there, because again, we approved fonts. That was not one of them. So this is the one, you'll just see it over and over again, this light gray font. So we have a little, and I'll show you how we can flag that. So that's the font issue, which again, we can fix that. We'll flag it now, but we can totally just fix it after. Okay, there's this issue with what we're calling, so I have no idea why. This is not a layout we approved, you'll be happy to know. Oh, can you see my screen?
I can see it.
Can you see it? Can you see my screen cut?
Yeah, it's the Excel spreadsheet.
No,
Weird delay. Oh, now I see it.
Oh, wait.
It's
Okay.
in Spanish.
So, yeah, this is not a layout we approved. This weird, like, green bar over the image, and then the title is here, and then the text starts here, and often there's then left this big white space here. So these we're putting in the fix before the 29th, because to me this is to me something if an administrator's flipping through and they see this, like I would think this was a mistake personally if I saw this. Like, whoa, something went weird there. So the text like moved. There's something missing, or and that's what we don't want admins to get nervous that there's like these big mistakes going on. But so this to me does not pass the flip test of being able to just sort of flip through and be like, oh, things look pretty good. So again, I don't know why again, this was not an approved layout. So. But all we're doing on this, maybe that just will flag it, and then D2L is going to essentially just remove the green bar and put the heading at the top. But this is something you'll come across some in more courses than others. That to me, we just got to fix this. It's just.
And that header will be in all caps too, right? That's the style.
Yeah. They can just put it in the same header style they've been using, and then they'll go through and they're actually going to bulk edit that at some point to make that header a little smaller. But yeah, for now they'll just, and you don't even need to tell them that. Like we're going to use these little stamps to actually put to actually say where the problems are. So and we've given them we haven't yet, but we will give them a little key. So like when they see this page like this stamped, then they've got they know what they have to do. Sort of thing. So you shouldn't even have to actually describe that or say, like, make sure the header is a certain thing on this kind of page. Literally, you'll just cut and paste the little stamp.
Good. Okay, and we can stamp that right on the page itself?
Well, no. This is going to be a fun part of this project. For the first doing QA and providing feedback for a long time was we were navigating through the course, copying, pasting the URL, and then in a spreadsheet, putting that URL into a row on a spreadsheet, and then on that row describing what the problem was and what the fix was, which takes so much time because you have to describe every problem. So you'd have to be like, this one is sort of easy to describe because I was always just like, crazy green bar, fix it. But, on others, it's like some of those confusing layouts, trying to describe, okay, I would take the first paragraph that starts with, you must lock out, tag out, and put that on another page, but then keep the text under it, and blah, blah, blah. It's madness to try to describe it. And then also, as when I'm describing something, is not necessarily how somebody else would be thinking about it. So then when the content developers were looking at my feedback, they would be like, I don't understand what you're saying. So what we've decided to do, and Julia and I were in Canada working on this week with them, because I think this is actually the best way to go. But it does require screenshotting the course. But we are actually Julia's son, who is going to go off to college soon, and has some time the next few weeks, is going to do the screenshots for us, but he's not. We're going to have to do the first few courses doing our own screenshots, but he will soon catch up to us and be able to just send us a document that's a screenshotted course. So, it's a momentary pain we'll need to go through to actually do the screenshots ourselves, but what we'll do is just do a screenshot. This is a little example page that Julia put together of, oh, that's funny, this is the same course we were just looking at. So she put this little example together. So we'll just do a screen grab of the screens in the course, and then we've put together these little stamps. So you'll just have these little stamps handy too that you can just cut and paste over into the document. So you can see on this one, Julia's put the red G. So this just then signals, so you don't have to spend time, saying anything at all about what to do. If you stamp this green G on that page, D2L will know what to do. Similarly, if you come across a page that you're like, oh, it's kind of fine. Yeah, it's fine. Not too much stuff. I can kind of get what's there. It's all, the image is fine. You'll just use an OK stamp at the top so that they know they don't have to do anything with that page. Sorry, I'm still in Canada. I'm in my hotel, and there's like a big street sweeper going by or something outside. It's really loud. It's Canada Day here, so they're all off on holiday. I didn't know that when I booked my travel. So we have these conventions where we'll just say, like, if we're going to split the page, like, just put a red line where the page should be split, and then just say, here's what the new name should be for the topic page. If the image is really, really, really weird, we haven't got to the image issue yet. We can get to that in a minute. But like, if the image needs to be replaced, you're just going to stamp an RI on the image. So we've tried to come up with move from relying on people interpreting each other's descriptions of issues to actually showing them on the page what needs to be done. So we did a test run with the developers this week, and this worked a lot better than the spreadsheets.
Yeah, I can see how that would work.
Yeah. So it is a pain. Again, the screenshotting is a pain, but Julia's son is starting today, and he will, we'll get to a point soon where he'll just be able to send us the screenshotted course, and we won't have to do that part of it.
How do we get screenshots of a page?
So so Julia and I experimented with like a million different ways of doing this. So I think the easiest way is, and we can reimburse you for this, but if you don't have it, is to use a program called Snagit. I mean, so there's one of two that. Well, let me put it this way: there's a way to just use the snipping tool that you probably already have on your computer. Like, mine is just in this little. It appears here, or it may not. If you may have tools, since in theory we should not have to do that many of these, because Sam will start sending us them soon. But what I decided to do, so Julie and I used this program called Snagit, and we got the system really down this week on how to. I mean, I think technically speaking, that's probably the easier way, because it's very easy to just go through and like screenshot. It goes to a Snagit library. You convert them to images, and you can cut and paste them into a Word doc.
Hey,
having big.
Ellen, I've been doing a lot of demos with screenshots, and been using my system to do it, and I've used Snagit before. It is 10,000 times easier to use Snagit. It's a wonderful tool. So if we can get that would be fabulous. I don't think it's that much either.
Yeah. No, I don't think it is either. And I think you could even do like a monthly thing if you want or something like that. Yeah, I mean, so whatever works. I mean, but I'm having this issue though, Kat, with Snagit where I can't, and Julia's not having this issue, but I spent like way too many hours last night trying to figure it out, where I can go through and I can do all the screenshots. They go into my Snagit library. You have to convert them because they go into your library as this like Snagit format that is you can't really copy out, but you can bulk convert them to like a JPEG, for example, and then in theory, like Julia can just copy those JPEGs into a Word document because they will go convert them to JPEGs. It's giving them all the same timestamp. So when I copy them into Word, they're in a jumbled order, which isn't helpful. So
Does she
like
have a Mac?
60-page,
Does she have a Mac and you have a PC?
What was that?
I said, does she have a Mac and you have a PC?
Yes.
Bingo.
Yep, I think that's the issue. So that's where I was having trouble with Snagit. So I don't know, Eric, if you work on a Mac or a PC, but if you have a Mac, it sounds like Snagit is the way to go. If you don't, it's going to be a struggle, I think. Or at least, I don't know, someone I'm sure can figure it out, but I was not smart enough to figure out steps that you don't have to do with Snagit. So the snipping tool, you literally click on the snipping tool, you hit new, and then you just take your cursor and go like this, and it snips. It makes a screenshot. And then, but with Snagit, it'll go right into your library. With the snipping tool, you have to just go up here, copy, and then just copy it into your, document.
Okay.
Like that. So it's not a terrible process. I mean, that's it. So that's it. So I just did, that was one page. It's just with Snagit, you can literally go through and like screenshot, and it just is going into a library that then you can paste out into a document. This has the extra step of you have to get the screenshot, copy and paste each time. But it's not horrible, but it'd be nice if Snagit could work. But I could not figure it out. So I'm to us, but he can't get started till tomorrow. And I wanted you all to be able to, if you wanted to, be able to start on something. So if you're going to start on something sooner, you'll have to do your own screenshots.
On the Google Drive.
Yeah, so I did. I sent it's one of the documents I sent. It's called the course review comment examples. Did you get that? I think I sent it. Oh yeah, in this 4 meeting. These are the documents I sent. So I sent the checklist, your logins, this examples document, and then these little stamps. Did you?
I didn't.
Did you get
yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have to step away in about 30 minutes, according to that phone call, but I think we'll probably be done by then.
Yeah, so and actually the only other thing I think for you, Eric, is that I would, as you have done in the past, personally, I would pull up the old course as you're going through, because to me it just helps. Like the thing, not like I'm like don't want to improve our quality, but the exercise, purposely for these recons was to get like for like into the system. So that is just a good guide sometimes to be like, oh, okay, fine, that's fine.
Yeah, and then we'll answer a question. If you look at something and say, is that quite the way I would have done it? And then you can look back and see, well, that's the way it was, so that's the way I'll leave it, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And then the other thing is, I am still occasionally finding some missing content where I'm like, why didn't they put an X? I mean, I know, and Eric, there are some courses where what's in the system is actually a little different, so we'll come upon those and deal with it, but it should be the same from a content perspective as they are in the new systems. That's another reason. So what I've been doing, this is where this whole screenshotting thing is so much easier than the spreadsheets. What I've been doing is actually, let me pull up one of these. If I'm going through a course and I find out, that there's stuff that was in the old course that's not appearing, I'm actually then just screenshotting the old course right into the space where it should be. So then you don't have to describe. You don't have to be like, well, there's a page on the this or that should be here. It's like, just stick it in there. So like this one, I think it was this one, I realized there's this closer game that maybe we don't put it in now, but I'd like to get it back in at some point. So I just screenshotted from the old course what should be there. And just stuck it in.
That's a lot easier than trying to describe where it is in the old course, because they had trouble finding it sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can just cut and paste right in. So you know how to do that, Eric. So you've done it in chat. I can show you kind of how to navigate into system navigation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the only other thing, Eric, to point out, I would say, so to me, like there's some image issues. Like there's a couple cases where they would say, let's just flag where it's like, there's one in the hoarding course. I'm like, we must remove it. It's a terrifying, terrifying image of animal hoarding, and nobody
my
has to look
God.
at it. And so things like that, I would say, let's just say replace it. And then there's some where it's like, wow, that image really has nothing to do with the text on the page. Like, there'll be a whole course on being a team player, and it's like every image is a single person sitting at their desk working on a computer or something like that. And like, what does that have to do with anything? So we can flag places where we think eventually an image should be replaced, and so you can put those in like the blue replaced image. But if it's really something where you're like, wow, I'd be kind of embarrassed if an admin saw this, then it'll just be a red replaced image. And then things like errors, typos, if you see them, obviously you can point them out. You can those we're just putting in a text box, like just put a text box that's on top of the thing and say like, and say, this should really say, I'm going crazy instead of whatever it says, So those there, we will have to describe some things, obviously, and we can just put a text box over the picture and describe it there. But for the most part, I think we should be able to kind of use this stamping, this little stamping system. Actually, this intro page thing, don't worry about it. I'm going to delete that. We don't have to do anything about that. And then the last stamp is just, again, like some pages are just fine. So if it looks fine, it's fine. But we do want to just stamp an OK on it so they know they don't have to do anything with it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think those stamps will.
Yeah, it's really, I'm like, why didn't we think of this before? Because really it just red. I need to do something with it now. This page, okay, fine. This page is blue, so we can deal with that later. It's just a much easier than trying to like decipher through that spreadsheet and connect back.
Ellen, cognitively, so you're matching. This goes right along with Mayor's stuff. You're matching, looking at something, and you're visually changing it. We've done QA pages with all of the descriptors and stuff, and you're right, they're time consuming, they're a pain in the ass, and also there's processing time that you have to take to decipher what it means. So that's fantastic. What a great idea you guys had.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because Juliet, we came up here this week just to figure this out, and we read all these different systems, and we were like, we're going to do this, and like, no, that didn't work. We had a point where we were printing out the courses and marking them up, and like, that didn't work. So we finally landed on this.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Once you do it, you're like, oh, that's really simple. Why didn't we think of that before? But it took us days.
Well, you probably saved us probably a month's worth of time by doing this, though.
I hope so.
I think so.
So, yeah, I think as these things are, it might be best to just dive into one. So what I've also sent you a schedule that could look very scary, but let's see what we can do with it. So, I mean, what at some point we need to start delivering these sort of quickly to D2L. So here's what I was thinking is maybe, but again, like if this isn't doable, because I know it's a holiday week, we each have like a couple a day, which I think a couple is good. But it is true that like these are some of our longest courses. And then when we get down to some of these, it's going to go a lot faster because there are a lot of our like 15-minute, half-hour courses. But even at that, I was kind of thinking like a couple a day might be manageable. I don't think more than a couple a day is manageable at all. But to get everything rolling along into D2L's hands and fixed by the end of the month, we worked out with them sort of having a rolling daily deliverable schedule. So maybe what we could do is like dive in and see what you think. I'm sure the first few will go much more slowly, but we can see if we think a couple a day, is sustainable once we've all got the hang of it. But I think it should be. Again, especially after Sam is sending us the screenshots, that should, I feel like should go much, much faster. than when we're doing the screenshots ourselves. So I don't know what your time, do you want, I mean, I don't know if either of you have even any time to do something by end of the day on the 5th, or that's totally fine if you don't, but what are you thinking is time-wise? Or maybe you want to work all weekend. I don't know. You're welcome to if you would like. But what were you thinking as far as time and when you think you might be able to work on at least one, if not a couple?
My time is pretty open right now, so I'll probably get started and see how fast it goes, I would think.
But then I have all day on the 5th off, so that sounds fine. I'm supposed to be in Augusta all day Tuesday to meet with Peggy on some stuff, but then the rest of the week is pretty light.
Okay.
So I could at least get 2 or 3 done, probably.
Okay. And I think the same with business ethics and business etiquette. I feel like those aren't too long either. So those should be, I think, manageable. So start with those, and then if you get through more, like I said, as many hours as you want to put in, we will take. So if you get through those and want to keep going, you could just look for where where you've got your name here. Oh, these crisis management ones are actually pretty short too. So, yeah. So I'd say just use this schedule and just go down the list of your assigned courses as fast as you would like.
Awesome.
Well, one thing, one quick thing about these ones with the asterisks next to them, it's not going to be worth looking at the old courses for the ones that have the asterisks. So, like, Eric, if you're working on dealing with difficult people, don't even bother pulling up the old course, because the course that's in the old system isn't even at all the same. So if there's an asterisk next to it, then just don't even pull up the old course. Just look through the new one and comment.
Okay, that's good. And then when we're done with a course, do we upload it to Dropbox or just email it to you?
Yeah, actually, if you could email it to me, that would be great, because I'm going to be uploading them to this system that D2L is using that they gave me access to. It seemed like a real pain in the rear end. So rather than wait to get you all access, I'll just upload stuff to the system. So yeah, if you could just email to me, that would be fantastic.
Okay, that's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. The Dropbox system was driving me mad also through that whole process. I don't know about you, Eric, but oh my gosh. There's just so much
Yeah, I adjusted to it eventually, but I did get there was a little disconnect there at one point, so.
Yeah, it's like, I think this will be much simpler. So we're learning to simplify our processes.
So do I need Dropbox anymore? Because I have like a subscription, and if I don't need it anymore, I'll just drop that.
Yeah, I would say no. No, I would not. Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay. I think what else did I send you here? I think sample page, the logins for the old and new system. One quick thing on the logins: when you log into the new system, for some reason you can't bookmark the URL, and also it gets a little funky for some reason unless you go. If I open an incognito window in URL that way and go into the new system that way, I never have any problem. If I don't do it that way, there's often times where it's like, I don't know, in my non-technical brain, it gets confused and it tells me my login credentials aren't working. But that's not true. Like, these credentials will always work. It's just, if you go in and then clear your cache, they'll then work again. But the easiest thing is just to go in through an incognito window and you'll never have any problem.
Okay, good. I use Chrome, so I'll do that.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. It'll save you some pain and suffering. And then, yeah, so I think that's it. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a lot of trial and error, but as we go. And some courses are going to be in good shape, and some are going to need a bunch of stuff. So it'll be, different for every course. But that's it.
Okay. Well, how are things going with the project overall?
They're good. I think we definitely got to this point, and as Kat was saying earlier, she's been working with some of the change management people, realize you realize all the things you sort of forgot to do. Like, oh shoot, we didn't think of this and that. So I think we're feeling a little bit of a crunch because we really need to get people in the system by early August, or else get people set up, or else we won't make our timeline to have everybody off the old systems by the end of the year, which is really important because we're not going to pay for those systems anymore. So I think we're